The Devil Made Me Do It, a true nightmare. Today, we step into a true story from the 1980s in American history, a tale so chilling, it led to two words being debated in a courtroom: demonic possession. A moonless night in Brookfield, Connecticut, 1980. The air feels heavy, as if the darkness itself is breathing. The old house on Lover's Lane stands alone in the field, silent, but listen closely, and you'll hear it whispers. Not the wind, not the rustle of leaves, but dozens of voices bleeding up from the black earth below. Come here, that's what David Glatzel, an 11-year-old boy, heard the first night his family moved in. He woke drenched in sweat, eyes wide, staring into an empty corner. But it wasn't empty. Something stood there, tall, gaunt, with pitch-black eyes like bottomless pits, its pale, cracked skin gleaming under the moonlight. It didn't speak. It just smiled. The second night, the scratches appeared, not on the walls, but on his skin. 3 long, red gashes, seeping blood, as if clawed by something sharp and unseen. His mother, Judy, searched the house, but there were no animals, no explanation. The third night, the whispers grew louder. "I'll take you, take all of you," David screamed, crashing on his bed, his eyes rolling back, white and bulging. His voice wasn't a child's anymore, it was guttural, ancient, like an old man burned alive in hell. The Glatzel family didn't know it yet, but they'd opened a door to something that should never have walked this earth. But the worst wasn't what they saw, it was what they couldn't explain. A stench of sulfur rose from the floorboards, though there was no fireplace, no pipes. The bathroom mirror cracked on its own, shards falling like rain, reflecting a twisted face that didn't belong to anyone in the house. And one freezing night, Judy heard footsteps, slow, heavy, dragging down the hallway. She opened the door, but no one was there, just a trail of damp soil stretching from David's room to the stairs, as if something had crawled up from beneath the earth. David wasn't David anymore. He spoke in tongues, languages no human could know. A priest later said it sounded like ancient Latin, but warped, sung backward from a dead throat. He clawed symbols into the walls with his fingernails until they bled, never stopping. At night, he sat in the corner, staring at his family, whispering, "Blood. I want blood." Judy swore she once saw him hovering inches above the floor, head tilted unnaturally, like a puppet jerked by invisible strings. But it didn't stop with David. The house came alive. Knives in the kitchen arranged themselves into a star on the table, untouched by human hands. Knocks pounded from every wall, erratic, like dozens of fists clawing from within. One night, Debbie, David's sister, woke to see her reflection in the mirror, but it didn't move with her. It stood still, smiling, then slowly raised its hands as if to choke her. When she screamed, it vanished, leaving a charred mark on the glass. Arne Johnson, Debbie's boyfriend, couldn't take it anymore. He came every day, trying to protect them. But he didn't know he was stepping into its sights. One afternoon, sitting by David, the boy snapped his head up, locking black eyes on Arne, and said, "You'll be the one holding the knife." Arne laughed it off as childish nonsense. But that night, he dreamed of standing in a field of rotting corpses, hands dripping blood, a voice whispering in his ear, "Soon." He woke with 3 searing claw marks on his chest, fresh, burning, carved into living flesh. The Glatzels called Ed and Lorraine Warren famed demon hunters. When Lorraine entered the house, she collapsed, a cold force piercing her chest, stealing her breath. Ed raised his crucifix, but it bent in his hands, twisted by an unseen grip. Lorraine later said she saw dozens of shadows around David, tall, gaunt, with red eyes and claws, giggling as she tried to pray. The first exorcism was a nightmare. David was bound to a chair, but the rope snapped, burning his skin. He screamed in dozens of voices at once, children, men, women blending into a chorus of terror. "You can't cast me out." A frigid wind roared through, tearing the Bible from Ed's hands. Lorraine saw a shadow rise from the floor, not walking, but crawling, its long fingers gouging the wood, leaving scorched trails. It paused before Arne, tilted its head, and whispered, "You're mine." That's when Arne snapped. He stood, shouting into the darkness, "Leave the kid alone. Take me if you dare." The room fell deathly silent. Lorraine fainted. And David stopped thrashing. But the cost was steep. David grew calm, but Arne didn't. The whispers started in his head, soft at first, then deafening. "Kill, kill." In the mirror, he saw not himself, but something else, red eyes, a crooked grin. On February 16, 1981, at Alan Bono's boarding house, it all erupted. During an argument, Arne roared like a beast, eyes blazing red, and stabbed Bono dozens of times. Blood sprayed the floor, and when the police arrived, he only muttered, "It made me do it." Arne Johnson was sentenced to 5 years for manslaughter. The court scoffed at talk of demons. But those who knew him told the same story: the smell of sulfur around him in prison, knocks from empty cells at night, and his eyes that had seen hell. The Glatzel house sits empty now. They say on moonless nights, you can still hear whispers from the ground. Stand there long enough, and you'll see it, a tall, gaunt shadow with red eyes, watching from the trees, waiting. So, turn off your lights tonight. Listen closely. You might hear it, the whispers beneath the earth. And if you feel a cold breath on your neck, don't look back. It's already chosen you.